But North Canberra, well, they've gone 12-3 with one draw in their 16 games of the regular season. Crookwell have scored more points than just about anyone. 684 puts them second in attack in the competition. North Canberra not quite as prolific in attack. 623 points they've scored during the season. But when you break it down, the North Canberra side probably slightly more consistent in terms of scoring points, but Crookwell have run up some very big scores during the course of this season. Crookwell have played one game in the past 4 weeks. They didn't play last week. They had the preliminary final week off in the semi-finals. They won 36 points to 14 to come straight through to the grand final. North Canberra, they did it the hard way. They came through the qualifying final. They lost that. Went into the semi-final. They beat Burra 30-14. Then they won the preliminary final against Harden 15-12 last week, and that's how we get to where we are today. Congratulations to our match referee, Garth Widdowson, his first grand final with a whistle in his hand. He's run plenty of lines, but to see him out there in the middle, he's a very, very proud man, and so he should be. John Wahinga and Jack Black are the touch judges. As you've heard Garth Widdowson say, let's get it right today. Crookwell Green Devils, hardly surprising. They're in the green. They're only the left of your screen. The North Canberra Bears, they're in the red and black. They'll be running to the right of your screen, probably with the slope here at the Crookwell Memorial Ground. If you haven't seen George Tooke Shield Rugby League before, you're in for a treat. This is 13-a-side on the field. And there are people banging on our broadcast tower underneath. That's going to add to some of the atmosphere and the noise for us. 13-a-side on the field. Extended benches. 7 players entitled to take the field from the bench, and I can tell you Crookwell have named 11 on the bench, although one of those is not going to take to the field to say today. That's number 25, Simon Smith. He is injured, and it's his last game, I believe, or would have been had he was taking to the field. But that's where we're at this afternoon, and taking it up is Andy Leonard for Crookwell. And they're already on the attack after the kickoff, where they managed to shut down North Canberra in their own in-goal area. I think that was Joe Picker there. It was. Plenty of Pickers out there this afternoon. Plenty of Cumminses as well. A couple of Aramoanas and a couple of Evanses. So you'll hear some names over and over for this Crookwell Green Devils side. That's Ben Picker in at dummy half. Pops it across now. Finds Dion Aramoana. And that's the 20 that he's just pushed back from. Ben Picker goes to his left, Charles McGeechan. McGeechan onto Stephen Cummins. Cummins puts it on the outside, finds Kalen Jackson-Wilkie. And it's taken 90 seconds, and we've got the first try of the game already. I was talking to a couple of people in the know about this competition earlier this afternoon, and they said North Canberra, they really do need to score first and put some pressure on early. Well, they have not just failed to score first, they failed to get out of their own in-goal area on their first possession. Gave the ball back to Crookwell, and this is not a side that you want to give free possession to. Kalen Jackson-Wilkie, first try, 4-0, 2 minutes gone. Great to be with you on Bar TV this afternoon. Fast start to the grand final. Plenty of smiles down there in the Crookwell dugout, I can tell you as well, to start things off here. Remembering the grand final played here 12 months ago, it was fast and furious. And it really did continue all the way through the full 70 minutes, 35 minutes each way. So we wait for the conversion attempt here from Cameron Picker. He's closing in on 100 goals for the season. By the way, he's kicked 97 so far this year. Doesn't matter what level of footy you're playing at, 100 goals in a season is no mean feat. But yeah, classic backline work there from the Crookwell side, just to work the ball out to the left, out to the wing. And North Canberra, well, they'd come up and in, and they just didn't have any defenders out wide. Not converted, so a little plus there for the North Canberra Bears. They do have another problem, though, is that they've got to give the ball back again to the Crookwell Green Devils. They really need a good defensive set. What have they got? Thorley with the restart for them, and they work it right over into the far corner of the Crookwell Memorial Park. That's the eastern corner if you're trying to get your bearings here. The ground sort of runs east-west from the near side of the ground, the corner on your left, that is the west, and that far corner on the right-hand side, that is the eastern end of the ground, more or less. So Crookwell, they bring it out again. Anthony Thompson getting involved in the tackle and doing a bit of laying down in there as well. It was on top of Dion Aramoana. They work it up to the left again. I reckon that's Steve Cummins. It is. Touch judge has popped the flag up in the air. There we go. So what have we got? We'll have a listen to this. As the touch judge, John Warringah, comes in. There we go. So rubbing the knuckles into the face. A bit of an unwanted facial there. North Canberra. That's the other thing they need to avoid. They need to be disciplined this afternoon. So they kick off from the penalty now, Crookwell, and they are really into attacking territory. They're only 25 out. McGeechan with the tap, gives it to Ben Picker. Back on the run-around play to Dion Aramoana. He takes Brad Thompson for a bit of a piggyback ride. Takes Stanley Carmichael to join in to actually bring Aramoana to the ground. He's right on the 20. To the left they go. McGeechan. Now it's with Eddie, Jackson Eddie. And he's made good yardage. He's only 5 out. They've got stacked on this side, but they go the other way with Dion Aramoana again. He looks to offload in the tackle. Put to ground now. 2 out and 2 to the left of the uprights. Crookwell had 1 try in 90 seconds. They're looking to make it 2 in 6 minutes here as they work it across to the far side. Now it's with Daniel Knight. Daniel Knight, the ball bouncing around in the in-goal area, and all that the North Canberra Bears can do is bat it dead. I don't think North Canberra have had possession of the ball in the field of play yet. They've had one... Yeah, they've had the ball kicked to them at the start of the game, which they took in the in-goal area and couldn't get out. Beyond that, they've had nothing. It's been literally all Green Devils this afternoon. This North Canberra side, they're at great risk of being out on their feet. They're having to do a massive amount of work at the moment. Now, I reckon that's Kurt Selms. It is. I should mention I don't get to see a lot of George Tooke Shield during the course of the season. Focusing largely on our Bar TV coverage of the Ospreakers Canberra Raiders Cup competition, but it's always great to get out to the grand final, a very special day. Selms again, and once again the Crookwell Green Devils, they're inside the 20. They're making this look very, very easy. They had Joe Cummins there. I elect not to use him. Instead they go to McGeechan. McGeechan pops it around the outside, and finally it's been picked up by North Canberra. We've got a whistle in there for a forward pass, so it will be North Canberra to feed the scrum. I won't say to get the ball because, well, we've seen some pretty impressive stuff so far from this Crookwell Green Devils. They've had literally 100%, or let's say 98% of the possession in the first 7 minutes. But North Canberra feed the scrum. It's Priestley who drops the ball into the scrum, and now it goes to Thorley, Chris Thorley. They get up over the 10. What do they do now? They just continue to work it across to their left. Plenty of Crookwell supporters here. I'm not sure how much North Canberra support there is. Largely over on that far corner, actually. That northern corner of the ground seems to be where the red and black fans have settled down. Now it's North Canberra making their way still in their own half. Ground a little bit soft. There's been a bit of rain here during the course of the past couple of days. That's Priestley. They come across to the right now, pop it out the back. Oh, good little ball from Thorley onto Jorgensen. Jorgensen gets across halfway, keeps the ball alive, finds the fullback in Laundus. Laundus tries to make a way through, but he can't make any further to ground. So on the last tackle, he's just outside the 40. They go across to the left. The kick comes from Priestley. Looks towards the posts. It stays a little bit on this side of the ground before it's taken by Knight in a diving catch, and he gets out to the 10, make it 15. And a couple of North Canberra Bears, including Thompson, bring him to ground. Also in there was Peter Dunn, the halfback. So not the world's worst set of 6 from the North Canberra Bears to get themselves at least their hands on the ball at some stage of the game. Time flying as it did last year in the grand final in this competition. Already nearly 10 minutes in Taking a long time to be held there was Isaac Walker. That's McGeechan to the halfback. Now it's across once again to Stephen Cummins. Cummins with a little kick through. There's plenty of red and black jumpers there. It's picked up by Priestley. Priestley looks around and he sees closing in him in Jaden Eddy. Eddy, the third man, into the tackle in the end, but he managed to slow up Priestley. Now they're going across to the left. I reckon that was Peter. Who was that? That was Wayne Bullock on that run. A bullocking run, dare we say. Sorry, bad joke, but it had to be made. Better position here for North Canberra as it comes to Matthew Burnham. Burnham over the halfway line, the lock forward. Plays the ball just short of the 40, so they're working it up the middle. Now it's Laundus onto Thompson. Thompson makes another 10, so on the last tackle they're outside the 30 now. They've got plenty of options. They come across and find Dunn. Dunn kicks for the corner over on that far side. That'll be, I reckon Ben Evans gets underneath it, but he's easily wrapped up and brought to ground. As they now work across field, Crookwell. So with a 4-0 lead, the game's starting to settle down just a little bit into more regulation rugby league. As they come across to the left and they kick. They saw that Jorgensen had come up and he gets a horrendous bounce. Second bounce is more to his favour and he gets underneath it and grabs hold of it just before Stephen Cummins, who was charging upfield from Crookwell, can get there. Now it's the North Canberra fullback in Laundus again. 15 short of halfway on the second tackle. They work it across to the left and give it to Burnham. Burnham, 3 in the tackle there. Selms and Joe Picker amongst them. It'll pop out the back, comes back eventually to Thompson. Thompson now, 5 metres, make it 7 into opposition territory. So North Canberra starting to put a few sets together now. Bink tries to offload, but the ball's in his arms and being held to him by Dion Aramawana. Out to the left through Priestley. Priestley pops it over to Dunn. Dunn goes for a high ball. It bounces just short of the 20 and continues to roll and goes out over the sideline on the Marsden Street side of the Crookwell Memorial Oval. So we'll get just a moment for everyone to take a breath. 11 minutes gone already in this George Tooke Shield Grand Final. As I said at the start of the year, or start of the coverage, it was Crookwell who went 15-1 during the course of the season. They do come in as favourites, but as we all know, when you get to the grand final, doesn't mean a great deal to come in as favourites or underdogs. That's what happens during the course of the game. This competition, by the way, has had 5 different premiers in the last 6 years. Hall won it in 2012, Bynalong in 13 and 14, Bungendore 15, North Canberra 16, Harden in 17. So if Crookwell do get up this afternoon, it's a great testament to this competition to be 6 different premiers in 7 seasons. Every club feeling like they have some sort of a chance as the Crookwell Green Devils now make their way out from their own into the park. That's Isaac Walker walking in the tackle. Was it Bullock on his back? It was. Doing well. Now they pop it to the very fast Joe Picker. He was moving at speed and gets just to the halfway line. You can see it there. Ground, as you can see, a little bit chopped up in the middle. Not too bad. There were some showers in the areas. The ball popped back on the inside for Daniel Knight, who was going quickly, but it's been called as a forward pass. So North Canberra are going to get the ball here in good position. They'll start this set about 10 short of halfway. I did say that there'd been some rain in the area earlier. I'll just see whether I can spot what's going on with the radar while we've got this pause in play. As I did say there were showers in the area only about 50 k's away about an hour ago. We'll come back to that as for North Canberra, that was Priestley getting it onto Thorley, and Thorley has bright green boots in the air as he's tackled and squashed to the ground. Now it's Laundus, the fullback, in a dummy half. He gives it across to Bink. And Bink takes them over the halfway line. Now they work it across to the left again. Just one running off the dummy half, and that's Stanley Carmichael. A couple of good stepping plays in there. Was that Dunn in the bottom of the pack there? He's been squished. Might have been Kazag, actually. It was Hamza Kazag. So apologies to Hamza for getting misidentified early in the piece. Priestley now with a kick, goes for the corner. There's nobody back there. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's just had to be tapped away there by Kalen Jackson-Wilkie. Hope I wasn't in shot there, was I? Having to lean out of our commentary box to actually see what's happened down in that far corner of the field. So North Canberra, after, I was going to say a shaky start, I think you could actually say a horrendous start, where they didn't have the ball for the first 5 minutes. They've really started to put some sets together now. And so it's a line dropout. Won't quite make it to halfway. Well, it will as it bounces a couple of times. And it's taken by Jorgensen. Now Jorgensen runs on a 45-degree angle infield. It's picked up and driven into the turf about 35 out. So this is the best starting position North Canberra have been in. William Hazel. Look at him go, the big man. Taken to the 20 or just shy of. Kazag, a dummy half. Now he finds Bradley Capello. Capello in the 18 jersey, repeating it's unlimited interchange for the bench of 7 here in this George Tooke Shield. So plenty of players going to see plenty of action this afternoon. They're coming across to the right now. Priestley charges for the line. He's brought down about 4 out. I reckon an offload there, and he may have been about to score. Thorley in a dummy half. They've lost it backwards for mine. Dived upon by Crookwell Green Devils. And North Canberra, well, they come up with nothing again. But they are starting to put a bit of pressure on this Crookwell side. But they're just outside their own 20. Little ball finds Ben Picker. This is where they're dangerous, this Crookwell side. They just don't stop. It's not quite perpetual motion, but they really do just know how to keep the play alive on so many occasions. Ben Picker again involved. He directs the traffic so much. He's looked across to the left. He's got Dion Adamarana that way, but instead he goes to the right and goes for the kick down to the far corner, where Launders is waiting to try and stop it, but it gets around him. Now that ball's gone dead at the 10. Didn't see where he kicked it from. I'm pretty sure it was outside the 40. No, it was just inside. So there you go. So we've had a 40-20, and suddenly the potent attacking machine of the Crookwell Green Devils gets to wind up and go from just 10 out from the line. Massive test now for the North Canberra Bears. Absolutely massive test, and they lose the ball. Crookwell, but they get a penalty. 2-man strip. And they'll get another crack at it. As Darnell Rolls is the man who went on the short run. So this time they take a different path. McGeechan. And he's got Dion Aramoana. There's Jaden Aramoana on the bench in 22. Oh, just a little run from dummy half. He stays up. He turns around and rolls down, and I think he's got the ball down. Wait for it. Try time. Chris Thorley comes up to have a chat with Garth Widdowson, the referee, but try goes in the book to the Crookwell Green Devils. Well, in the end, that was fairly easy for them, wasn't it? Well, I don't think it's going to be too hard to say that North Canberra really do need to score the next one, especially as the conversion is made. Cameron Picker gets his 98th goal for the season.
Conversion successful out of Cam Picker. Crookwell Green Devils 10, North Canberra Bears 0.
And as you may have heard on the background there, 10-0. The ground announcer letting us know. Midpoint of the first half here, and it really is now very important for North Canberra to score next. They need the deep kick-off, and they do go for that. And surrender on the first tackle. Jaden Eddy Takes it through for the Green Devils to about their 20. So they're making a decent run of it. And they're up through the middle again. Gee, they're working it hard and working it very, very hard, this Crookwell side. And North Canberra, you just got to wonder, are they going to pay for so much defence in the first 5 minutes? They used up a few petrol tickets early. That was Ben Picker. Gets them to the halfway line. Now they're across with the kick. The high kick from Cameron Picker. Oh, and Jeff Launders is taken out. And I think the ball's been lost forward in there as well. So North Canberra will get up with the ball. So courtesy of Ben Picker and Kaylin Jackson-Wilkie with the tries for this afternoon so far. And the conversion to Cameron Picker. It's been all green on the scoreboard at the moment, but North Canberra, in terms of defence, by the way, North Canberra the second best defence in the competition. They only conceded 177 points, actually conceded fewer points than Crookwell did during the course of the year. Crookwell conceded 182. It's almost that physics question. Irresistible force, immovable object, and almost an intercept there as coming charging up from the line was Stephen Cummins for Crookwell, but he's put it down. So he's dropped the ball just short of the halfway line, so it'll be North Canberra to come up with possession here. Off the scrum. The scrum pack's on halfway and they feed it just short of halfway. Across to the back line they go to Launders and then over to the far side of the park where that's Richard Allen who's got it now for them. They've only made 5 metres forward. Make it 8 metres forward as there's a bit of push and shove in the tackle. And he doesn't get to steal his extra couple of metres. The referee sending him back a couple of steps. They're starting to make a big move now, this North Canberra side. So come across to Fangui Aiha. I hope I've got that right. The big fella takes him to 12 metres out. They've stacked it over on the right now. Priestley, but the ball bubbles around. I think that's been taken by Eddie, Jaden Eddie. So lost forward by the North Canberra Bears and then lost forward by Crookwell. So it'll be the Green Devils to feed the scrum after the double knock on. So hearing plenty of conversation between the match officials down there. North Canberra, they're not far off being able to make their way over the line, but they just need, I don't know, they're just missing that X factor at the moment. There's only 10 points in it, 13 minutes remaining before half time. They bring the ball out from their own end of the park. They come across to the left, plenty of numbers in there, but it's Joe Picker who does the work this time. 30 out from his own line. They set up both ways. I think they're going to go left. They do. I was waiting for Eddie to get to it. He was waiting for it. He was ready for it, but instead it was Kane Davis who had it. Now it's Picker. Oh, he just sold the dummy, sold the complete dummy. He's got plenty of support. Flat pass, finds Cameron Picker. Oh, it might as well be backyard footy day at the Picker household. And Cameron Picker's in for the second try for a Picker this afternoon. Ben's got one, Cameron's got one. You can bet Joe will be on the hunt now. He won't want to be left out. 23 minutes played, 14-0 the score, and it's starting to look like desperation stakes for North Canberra Bears. Just a great little play there from Ben Picker. Put the kick through to his own advantage, completely fooled North Canberra, had them absolutely flummoxed, picked it up, sent it around to Cameron Picker. I've got to be honest, he could have given it to 2 or 3 other players there. You can see North Canberra in the huddle at the moment. Chris Thorley, the large bald-headed man just to the left of centre of your picture there, was laying down the law. A few other people having a say at the moment. They've got to do something. But just having a look at the way they've scored so far today, Crookwell, they've had that great try for Jackson Wilkie early, which came off the end of a backline move where they just worked it wide. Then Ben Picker charged over under the posts. And Cameron Picker gets his second conversion, converts his own try. And that's come from a kick. So they've scored 3 tries in 3 different ways to take a 16-0 lead. They're not going at a point a minute, but they are scoring at a fairly decent click. What have North Canberra got as they restart again? They'd be getting used to this now. Not the kind of thing you want to get used to, by the way, against this amazingly powerful offence of the Crookwell Green Devils. Very, very dark here now. I'm just having a look to see what the weather is doing on the radar as we've got this slight stoppage in play. There are some showers in the area. There's some across to our west which might make their way through. There's plenty more off to the northeast, but they're probably about 20 k's away, so those ones won't cause us any problems. It's the ones across to the west that might impact on this game a bit later on this afternoon. That was Kane Davis taking the ball forward, and now it's Eddie. He doesn't stop, Jaden Eddie. He's just involved in absolutely everything, the big number 12, big second rower. 8 tries for him for the course of the season as well. And now it's Kane Davis again. So they're obviously the guys who've been given the task of trying to soften up North Canberra early in the tackle count. Now Picker sends the ball back. It's a pretty ordinary kick, but the kicker has slipped on making contact. Now it's Trent Brown for North Canberra. He started on the bench. The winger, the number 5. They're really compressed here, North Canberra. That's Thorley. Thorley making metres in the tackle, taking 3 Green Devils with him. Put to ground. Now Matthew Burns in at dummy half. And he finds Jacob Bink, and Bink doesn't make too much more distance really before he's put down. Oh, he still gets actually a few more metres in the tackle, and that's something North Canberra have been doing fairly well today, is making those extra metres in the tackle. They've rung about 4 changes there, and I can see Reardon coming on for a run now. He won't get it this time. That's Priestley. Sends it across to Laundus again, the fullback. He's just short of the 20. It's the last tackle. They come across a little bit of a juggle from Bradley Thompson, who I don't know if he's a regular kicker, but wasn't a bad-looking grubber. And the Green Devils, they come away with the ball from just short of their own line. Well, they're doing everything right so far, Crookwell. I know that it hurt them losing last year, and they've had 12 months to dwell on it. They've only lost 1 game this year. That was back in round 5 against Harden, by the way, at Harden. Harden finished second in the comp. Did not make it through to the grand final. We were within a few minutes of a rematch of last year's grand final last week, but North Canberra did the job, beating Harden 15-12 after losing in the first week of the finals, 15-14. They're on their way again, the Crookwell Green Devils, and it's Kane Davis. Surrender tackle, you hear the referee. He's doing a good job so far. Ben Picker to Cameron Picker. This time the kick is straight down the middle of the ground. It bounces again just short of Laundus. Laundus gets the ball, evades 1 tackle, straightens and looks to go up the middle of the park and does so. Andy Leonard, the first man in on the tackling front, wraps him up. And now Trent Brown, unable to make too much ground, just wrapped up on his own 20-metre line. So North Canberra, they need a big play. At this stage, not a great deal coming for them. Ben Cummins involved on that tackle. I haven't seen him involved in the play yet, so I haven't called him, I don't think. As I said, plenty of players coming on and off the field during the course of the afternoon. North Canberra deciding the best place to play this game is at the other end of the park, so they send it down to the far end of the field now, and that's Daniel Knight underneath it, who took the take, took the ball, and out to his own 30-metre line. McGeechan in at dummy half this time. And gee, they're getting through, aren't they? Crookwell just making yardage through the tackles. Was that Isaac Walker? It was. And now they give it to Jackson Wilkie again. Now he's playing on this wing, or was playing on this wing. That's where he scored his try earlier, but he's right over in the middle of the park now. So hard to defend against this Crookwell side. They can mix it up, mix and match, and put players all over the park. Who does Picker go for? Well, this time he goes for Andy Leonard, and Leonard taken on the 30. They're right in the middle of the ground. Across to the right. That's Cam Picker. That's a good little ball. And I reckon that might be Ben Cummins who's picked it up over there. But on the last tackle, they elect to run the ball. And they're taken just 5 metres out. So North Canberra will get the ball. 6 and a bit remaining till half time. 16-0 the score. Grand final day of the George Tooke Shield. I did say the last game in the region under the last senior footy game under the auspices of the Canberra Region Rugby League. There's a fundraising game happening at Seaford Oval in a couple of weeks' time. It'll be the Friday night before the grand final, which would be the NRL grand final. I think it's the 28th of September is the Friday night. And some of the big names from the past in rugby league will be playing in that one, and we'll have that one for you again on Bar TV on that Friday night. And that will be a great way to finish up the season, as the ball is, well, I was going to say lost by North Canberra, but it gets a helping hand in there from the Crookwell Green Devils. So North Canberra with 5 minutes and change till half time. They get a penalty here. Now, where can Chris Thorley start them off? He goes for a decent old kick. Right, set play time, you'd imagine. Starting from 30, this is the kind of stuff you do at training. That's Jackson Mafiti to tap the ball. Shapes to offload it to Wayne Bullock, but instead hangs on to it and gets it up to the 20 himself. Now Burns at dummy half. Dunn. Thompson. Bradley Thompson still going. And they're in the red zone now, inside the 20. Burns again at dummy half. Finds Priestley. Priestley to Laundus. Laundus, he's at 10. Make it 5 out. And 10 in from touch. Got a couple of tackles left here. What do? Oh, he's lost the ball in there. Oh, jeez. It's hard to watch. This side's better than this North Canberra side, and they know it. They know they're better than this. They have not really done themselves proud on this grand final stage. 2 meetings between these sides this season, both unsurprisingly won by Crookwell. As I mentioned earlier, Crookwell had only lost to Harden during the course of the season. That was back in round 5. These sides met previously in round 8. That was a 30-18 win to Crookwell. And in round 17, Crookwell, although we're on the march to the minor premiership, in fact they may have even already wrapped it up by that stage, and they won that game 54-18. They really were on fire that afternoon. I didn't mention North Canberra's defence. It's been pretty good. They've actually kept 6 opposition sides to no score during the course of the season. So they've got the defensive ability. They just seem to be a little bit down on confidence as Trent Brown has taken that penalty kick from the Crookwell Green Devils that failed to find touch. He's taken it just short of halfway, and now he's been hit hard in the tackle. That'll stop the clock with 3.5 remaining. That's not good. We'll just stay with the conversation down there at ground level for a minute. Well, he's okay. He's up now. Well, the referee doing a good job explaining to one of the players for North Canberra, I think it was Matthew Burns, that there was nothing untoward in the tackle. It was a head clash in there. So head clash, and Trent Brown stays out there for the North Canberra Bears. They're set up to the right. They give it to one of their bigger boys, Solomons. Now through the hands, it's with Bink. Bink had a couple on his outside, elects to hang on to the pill himself, makes another 10 metres, so he's 25 out, but he's lost it in there again. Gee, they need to get some cans of Stickum at half time and go absolutely berserk with it. Ball security has been questionable from North Canberra. Break can't come soon enough for them, you'd imagine. 3 minutes left now till that half-time siren will sound. So North Canberra, you'd imagine, will get one more attacking set. So a chance for them to really throw caution to the wind in the last couple of minutes of the half. But first things first, they've got to negotiate what Crookwell can bring to them. Cameron Picker, as they work it to the right and continue to the right with Kalen Jackson-Wilkie. And they come back to the left. Oh, big hard hit on Isaac Walker. Completely stopped him in his tracks just outside his own 30-metre line. And another good tackle on Joe Picker. So North Canberra, well, they're determined to make an impact before the break, if in nothing else in defence as opposed to offence. Come across to the left. They've got plenty of players there. There's Eddie. Eddie wrapped up like a new bike on Christmas Eve by Chris Thorley. There's Cameron Picker. He's found Stephen Cummins. Cummins over to Jackson Wilkie. Wasn't he on the other side a minute ago? He's moving all over the place. Or have they had him cloned? Well, clock's been stopped as this all gets sorted out by the referee. And North Canberra, they get a minute 50 to make their way 80 metres. That's Bradley Thompson. There's the first man. So they're just working it traditional rugby league style. Hard and fast with the big boys early in the tackle count. Continuing across to the left. And now they come back to the right. I think that's Priestley, is it? No, actually Reardon. Saw the hand strapped, but it's the wrong hand, so it's Reardon. It was on that previous play. Now it's the fifth and last. They go across to the left. Here comes the kick. Not a bad looking kick from Dunn. It'll land just over the line though, just in the in-goal area. And with 1 minute remaining, Crookwell will bring it out to the 20. Well, it'll be nominally a 7-tackle set, but if they can get through a 7-tackle set in 20 seconds, in less than a minute, they're doing okay. That's the 0 tackle. And now 40 seconds left. Mind you, they can do this. They're a very, very dangerous attacking side. Andy Leonard put to ground on the 30. They've got a two-man overlap there. One more pass would have been very, very dangerous. But Joe Picker elected to take the ball into the tackle himself. Now they're back up the middle of the park. They've still got numbers on this left-hand side. 16 seconds remaining. I think North Canberra well aware of that as they had Kane Davis wrapped up. As they pop back on the inside to Knight, and Daniel Knight was going very, very fast. He's 30 out. This will be the last tackle. They're going to go for the long-range field goal here from Cameron Picker. It's, let's say a less than spectacular attempt from it. I don't think Crookwell have kicked a field goal all season. But hey, in the grand final, if there's one on offer and it takes your lead from 16 to 17 points, who knows what it's going to be, what importance it may have. But the kick was unsuccessful. And so at the break, courtesy of tries to Kalen Jackson-Wilkie, Cameron Picker and Ben Picker, and 2 conversions from 3 attempts to Cameron Picker, it's 16-0 to the Crookwell Green Devils in the George Tooke Shield Grand Final for 2018. I don't know about you, but I reckon that first 35 minutes just absolutely flew by. Does not feel like it was half an hour and change. So what's on the agenda for the second half? Well, for North Canberra, there's 2 things. One is to stiffen up the defence, although you're talking about a Crookwell side that has averaged 40-plus points a week during the course of the season. So let's not worry too much about the defence, because 16 points, to concede 16 and a half is not so bad. Ball security is going to be important for North Canberra. Super important. They've just got to hang on to the ball. Giving up free possession is going to cause them nothing but grief and nothing but pain. For Crookwell, it's just keep on doing what they've been doing, really. I think they won the psychological battle at the kickoff when they put it into the in-goal area for North Canberra. North Canberra took it but couldn't get back into the field of play, and effectively from then on, North Canberra were on the back foot. Coach Chris Chudley had a chat with him before the game, and he said, it's just about really doing what we've done all season. Minor premiers, 15 wins, 1 loss. There's not too much that they need to actually do differently. Have we got that on camera at the moment? The Crookwell Green Devils mascot is having an absolute field day down there with the ground marshal, providing some entertainment. Not quite sure if that's family-friendly entertainment or not, but that's another matter. So Chris Chudley, he said it's really a case of doing what they do all season. Rick Thorley, one of the coaches for North Canberra, he said that for this game this afternoon, well, it's forget what's happened in the past. You can play a side 10 times and lose to them 10 times in a row, but you come up against them in a grand final, and it's all about what happens on the day. So 16 points. Well, as we saw last week in the Canberra Raiders Cup grand final, a big lead at half-time is not insurmountable. Last week, of course, it was Tuggeranong who were trailing by a considerable margin. What was it? It was 24-0 from memory at half-time. And then they go with the next try to start the second half. So they were 30-0 down, and then they managed to, in the space of, what have I got it down? I'll take it here. In the space of 18 minutes, they ran back a 30-point deficit and levelled it up at 30 points apiece. So rugby league in 2018 is a very different game from what it used to be when I was growing up. No lead is safe. 16 points to 0. Crookwell certainly entitled to feel that they have one hand on the George Tooke shield, but a one-handed grip can be very easily broken. North Canberra, they'll need to score first, and they'll need to then really put together a run of possession. Can they do it? We'll find out soon. Second half not too far away. This is the 2018 George Tooke Shield Grand Final on Bar TV. The second half in a few minutes. Welcome back to Crookwell. Second half not too far off in this 2018 George Tooke Shield Grand Final for today. Referee Garth Widdowson, 16 years of refereeing. That's reward for persistence, and he's done a very good job in the first half. He's making his way back out. I know that the game relayed via a number of social media platforms, but through the Canberra Region Rugby League Facebook page, I can see that Emily's watching from Perth saying go the Devils. Charlie watching from Brisbane, go the Green Devils. Joe says go the Bears. Rowan saying go the Bears. Great to have you on board wherever you're watching as the second half gets underway, and North Canberra with it all to do. A 16-point lead is not insurmountable, but they really will need the ball. Oh, big hard hit. They just set themselves there in defence to the Bears. It was Mafidi and Bullock, the two defenders. But now, Crookwell, as they want to do, they send the ball across the field and it gets to the very fast-moving Jaden Eddy, and he makes 20 metres in the second tackle. They work it up the middle of the park now through Picker onto McGeechan. It was Ben Picker, by the way. McGeechan now on the halfway line. I did say it before, 3 Pickers, 2 Cummins, 2 Aramoanas, and 2 Evanses in the squad for the Crookwell Green Devils this afternoon. It's almost just pick a surname and you've got a 50-50 shot as they lose the ball forward. So that's a start that North Canberra needed. They get the ball midfield. Can they score? Can they score first in this second half? They certainly couldn't get on the board in the first half. Their finishing was lacking something. They just didn't seem to have enough ability to change things up inside the last 10 metres of the red zone. But scrum on halfway, not too many players for them over the outside, but they give it to Launders, and Launders finds on his outside Richard Allen, and Allen loses his footing and is nearly pushed into touch. Launders in a dummy half, and with Kazag, and Kazag to, is it Bink in there? It's not Bink, it's the wrong boots for him. On the way through Burnham. So Burnham, he's 10 into opposition territory. They give it to Thompson, Bradley Thompson. He's been very, very busy. They continue to work on the other side of the park through Priestley. Priestley pops a short ball on his outside. Okay, so it's the last tackle now, and they're 10 out. Can they engineer something to get a repeat set here? Priestley with a kick through into the in-goal area. It's been picked up by Knight, and I reckon that they've held him back. They have. So we'll come back under the posts for a restart from the Green Devils. They'll put this one downfield. So North Canberra, they get successive sets. That's a better bit of football from them to start the second period. They need a reward for it. You'll see them lift if they do get some points on the board. Decent odd line dropout, goes 40 metres. Now calling for it was Thompson, but he didn't get the chance to get to it. As once again, Crookwell, they've just made up far too much ground there, and I reckon it was Brown. Oh dear. I'm not hearing the referee in there. I'm not sure whether we've lost our comms. There we go. Just wait for this conversation here. No, there wasn't a conversation. I thought there was going to be a bit of chat. So North Canberra losing the ball. It's enough to make you pull your hair out, really. Now Crookwell, plenty of players set out on the right-hand side. There's Mafidi. It was Mafidi who made that run before, and I couldn't identify him. So there he is there in defence now. Now on the way through Isaac Walker. He hasn't scored a try this year, Walker, believe it or not. Dangerous attacking weapon. You see him stepping there as he's lost the ball, and he's lost it cold. So we've had a player trapped in the in-goal area. We've had both sides lose the ball. Safe to say the first 4 minutes of the second half of this game haven't really reached any spectacular heights just yet. So North Canberra to feed the scrum just on their own side of halfway. Through Launders, the fullback. Oh, he's popped it on the outside. Oh dear. This is Stephen Cummings. They don't get any easier than that. And he's a very, very happy camper, Stephen Cummins. He is the second highest try scorer in the competition for the year. He scored 24 through the course of the season. And number 25 may just be the one that puts this grand final beyond doubt. It takes them to a 20-0 lead off an intercept there that, oh gee, that's a heartbreaker for the North Canberra fans. But Crookwell, I think it's going to be a wild old time in this town tonight. 25 tries for the season now for Stephen Cummins. Congratulations to him. Intercept try right under the black dot. So I'm really not sure what, if anything, North Canberra can do here. The floodgate's well and truly open. .40 minutes gone, 30 remaining. And it's now 22-0.
Invasion successful out of the Green Devils through Cam Bigger. Crookwell now 22, North Canberra 0.
I wonder if North Canberra go for the short kick-off. They don't. They go for the long kick-off. Try and do something down that far end of the field. There is a bit of a slope here. Crookwell running with that slope in the second half as we get a whistle. Ball carrier led with the elbow. You heard the touch judge. I think it was Jack Black, the touch judge, who made that call. So penalty to North Canberra. They're 10 metres out. Kurt Selms down on the deck at the moment for the Green Devils, and he's just struggling to get up. I don't know whether it's a... Jokes about broken noses, the things you hear. That's a hamstring, I would suspect, or a knee, one or the other. And that is probably the end of the day for Kurt Selms. So what can North Canberra provide here? Kazag will take the tap. He's 11 out. You can see the posts just behind him. Or just on the other side of him, to be more grammatically correct. So they go with Burnham and then to Thompson. Thompson 5 out. They've got numbers to the left. If they can spin it quickly, it bounces around, but it's been lost forward in there. They needed quick hands. They had numbers over to the left, and I can tell you, Richard Allen, I reckon if they'd been able to get it out to him, he would have been in, because the Crookwell side had gone for a more compressed defence. And Kurt Selms for the Crookwell Green Devils, he's just making his way to the dugout, which is immediately in front of us here. And he's limping. So he's made it there under his own steam, but he'll be done for the afternoon. I don't think he'll worry too much at the moment with his side 22-0 up, and with the ball. I think that's Jackson Wilkie again. No, it's not. It's Ben Cummins that time taking it forward. Now it's with Joe Picker, and they're already out to their own 30-metre line. Crookwell. Bit of interference in the play of the ball. No. All good to keep going. Is that Joseph Cummins? It was. And ball's been forward pass in there. Call's been made. I reckon it was the touch judge who's made the call. Garth Widdowson picking it up there. So Crookwell, well, they're 22-0 up. There's 27 minutes remaining. But if North Canberra score next, who knows what will happen. They really do need to use the ball. It's been something they have not been able to do effectively through the course of this afternoon. Chris Thorley takes it and pushes and gets to the 20 on the first tackle. On the far side, they'll come back on the inside, giving it to Thompson. He's been busy for them today. He's inside the 20. Pops one out the back. No one able to get to it finally picked up off the deck. They come back inside. It was Thorley who I thought might have been the target for it, but he couldn't get there. Now the ball's gone free again, but I think we're going to come back for a play of the ball here. Yeah, it'll be Chris Thorley who gets to play the ball. Well, actually, he's going to come in a dummy half, so he gets to receive, sends it back to Priestley, then to Thompson. Thompson charges for the line. He's cut down about a metre out, across to the left. No, just trying to charge across the line instead. Penalty comes to North Canberra. So they've got another set of 6 from 10 metres out. Again, they've got an overlap to the left if they elect to use it. Instead, they don't. They run it straight up the middle with Carmichael. They're going to go right, are they? No, they come left instead because Burnham's cut around to the left. He's over the line. He's pushed back into the field of play. He's over the line again. That'll be held up. He's lost the ball in there. That'll be a strip in the in-goal area. Wasn't in the attempt of scoring, so it's another penalty to North Canberra. Floating past to Dunn, the halfback. And he only makes it to the 10-metre line. Mafidi calling for it across to the left. Instead, they go to the right. Ball goes to the ground. Picked up off the turf by Burnham. Burnham still going. He's just short of the line. You hear the referee saying, hands out, hands out. They give it to the big man again in Bradley Thompson, and he's pushed back into the field of play. What defence from the Green Devils. Kazag at dummy half. He gives it across to Carmichael. Carmichael looks over the other side of the field. He finds Chris Thorley. He's in. Over in the corner. We'll wait for the decision for the refs. You hear the whistle. You see him point to the spot. And North Canberra, they break their duck. They get 4 points on the board. They're down by 18 with a kick to come. There's still 24 minutes remaining. Can they finish with the proverbial wet sail? I mentioned that Stephen Cummins was the second leading try scorer in this competition. Well, the leading try scorer in this competition, Chris Thorley, he gets that one, and that's his 28th try for 2018 in this George Tooke Shield competition. Sustained possession finally telling and getting North Canberra in the books. Hasn't made it easy for himself with the conversion. He's no slouch with the boot though. 61 goals for the season so far. So what's he able to do? As you can see, he's just outside the 20. Would have been the old 22 back in the day. About 10 in from touch, I'd say. There's absolutely no breeze here this afternoon. There's a couple of flags on top of the goalpost. They're not even moving. Fairly still. Taking his time with it. Comes in. It's good, it's good. You hear everyone saying out in the field in terms of the official, it's good. 22 points to 6. So North Canberra, well, they've done what they needed to do. And that is get some points on the board. And just reminding you that it was only 6 days ago at Seaford Oval we saw a grandstand finish after it was 30-0 with 22 minutes remaining. So let's see what happens as North Canberra get the ball back at the eastern end of Crookwell Memorial Oval. Bringing it forward is Richard Allen. He's just outside the 20. Is that Carmichael? It was. And once again, Allen. He had speed. There's a little bit of a gap and he made it on the other side of halfway. They work it to Dunn. Dunn kicks for the corner. Isaac Walker is waiting there, but he can wait all he likes. It'll be like trying to get a cab out of the middle of Canberra at 3 a.m. You can wait and you can wait and you can wait and you see it go straight past you. And Isaac Walker sees that go straight past him, and it'll be a 7-tackle set for the Crookwell Green Devils. And they restart play with Dion Aramoana. Is he the only player out there with headgear on today? I reckon he is. Now, that wasn't back 10 metres. That was very clever play from Crookwell. Pick the one man who wasn't back 10 and just run straight at him and pick up a penalty. Very, very easy stuff. So Walker will take the touch finder from just short of the 40. In the middle of the park. Makes no doubt about it. He's cleared the touchline by about 15 metres, I reckon, there. Making sure of it. So McEachin with the tap. Had a couple of options. They work it through the hands to Aramoana. Aramoana now on the 30. They eventually call it a surrender tackle. So there you go. And then he loses the ball in there. So North Canberra, well, they're doing a lot right. But gee, it's going to be a massive finish from them to do this. They've got the scrum feed here. We'll wait and see what they can do. It'll be interesting to see them work at the short side there, but instead they've worked at the open side. Yeah, high tackle. And offside as well. So there you go, 2 for the price of 1. So now North Canberra, after the scrum, they get the penalty on their own 30. Shouldn't make too much. I might kick it straight towards us, actually. Yep, that's for me. That's for me. No, it's just on the roof of our grandstand. Immediately above us, quite literally. Mafidi takes the tap and gets them up over halfway. 10 metres into enemy territory. 19 and a half remaining. So still plenty left on the clock. Kazag in at dummy half. Finds Bullock. Bullock bounces out of one tackle, goes into the second. He's 35 metres out. They go across to the right. Dunn. Long ball. I reckon that was Brown. It was. Now the fullback, Laundus. Laundus out the back. Thorley has to turn around and pick it up. Almost gave himself up there. He's called held. So he's 38 out now. Now they give it to one of the big boys. And the big push and the big run. I reckon that might have been Burnham in there. Was. Now to the other big fella in Thompson. And Thompson picked up and dropped in the tackle. He's 11 short. We saw them work out a repeat set. They've got an overlap if they can go a long way to the left. Dunn puts the kick across field. Ball has bounced around like it's in a pinball machine and it's been taken by Cam Picker. But there's a penalty been found by the referee. There we go. So he was taken in the air according to the referee. So North Canberra, well, they've got a chance here, a golden opportunity you would think, as they give the ball to Richard Allen. And Allen is 2 metres out. Cross to the right to the big fella. Is that Bradley Thompson? I think it was. He was wrapped up very, very quickly. And they're across to the right again. That's Matthew Burnham, I think. And he's dived over and he scored. Well, hello, hello, hello. We've got a game on our hands here. Matthew Burnham over the stripe. 22-10, kick to come, 18 minutes remaining. The glorious uncertainty of rugby league is revealed to us again on a cloudy Saturday afternoon here in Crookwell. In the first half, North Canberra gave Crookwell on a couple of occasions repeat sets and paid the penalty for it. North Canberra haven't had too many repeat sets, but they've benefited twice from them. They've been able to turn a penalty down at that left end of the ground, at the western end of the ground, into points. 22-12. How important is this kick? Matthew Burnham doesn't score many. By my reckoning, that's his 5th for the season. not how, it's how many, isn't it? As we wait for Chris Thorley. He's 1 from 1 with the boot today. And he's got it 2 from 2. It's 22 points to 12. $10 points the difference, 16 points remaining. And to the visitors' score next, we're up for yet another grandstand finish in Canberra Region Rugby League. By the way, forgot to mention it earlier, when Cameron Picker made his third conversion for the day. That was his 100th goal for the season. Should have mentioned that earlier. Quite a milestone. 22-12 now. Ball falls off the tee. So 10 minutes remaining. The high restart doesn't cause any issues for North Canberra. No, they come across to the left. That ground has been chopped up a little bit. It's a bit slippery underfoot. You're seeing a few players lose their footing now. And that is offside. Not back to 10. They shut down Matthew Burnham very, very quickly. And that's how it was done so quickly, because they weren't back the mandatory 10. So Thorley with the touch finder. Another one that's going to land on the roof. Nope, it goes actually over the top of our box this time. You've got the best seat in the house for these plays here on Bar TV. And Mafidi taps and goes, crosses halfway, crosses the 40. Brought to ground. Kazag in a dummy half. Sends it across the field, finds Dunn. Dunn then on to Allen. Allen, he's over the 30. He's 28 out. North Canberra, they're a completely different side at the moment. They're playing as though they're in front. Confidence lifted up, the back-to-back tries from them. Now it's Burnham. He scored one a minute ago and he takes them to 10 out on the far side of the park. They're calling for it on the left. Instead they run a short play to the right. 5 metres to go. Across with Thorley. Oh, he's still going, is Thorley. What a run from that man. The last tackle. We've seen them dangerous on repeat sets. Can they make one reappear here? Dunn puts the kick across. Underneath it is Jorgensen. Ball bounces around. Has been knocked on, I think, both ways. Brought back into the field of play. So only a knock on from the North Canberra side in the in-goal area. I thought it had come off a Green Devils player as well, but it was Daniel Knight who brought it back into the field of play. Is that Davis in there in the bottom of the pile? It was. The Devils, they shut down a good attacking raid from North Canberra. But this game, well, it ain't done yet. Absolutely willing. Neither of these sides are going to have much left in the tank. I reckon that was James Weir it was. That's the first time we've seen Weir this afternoon. He was a late inclusion in this side. Jack Dawson in the 19 was actually withdrawn late in proceedings, and the 19 jersey went to James Weir. Now, that was a big kick, but it was well taken by Brown, Trent Brown, but he's cut down outside his own 30. He's copped one in, it looks like a rather sensitive part of the anatomy. I reckon that's, or has he copped it in the belly? Maybe a little bit higher, but he's had the wind knocked out of his sails. 12 and a half remaining. So both sides will get a little bit of a break here. I really do like hearing a good relationship between players and referees, and we've got one happening out there this afternoon. Obviously, Garth Widdowson with the respect of both sides. So questions being asked, he's answering them. I can tell you Trent Brown does not look terribly happy out there at the moment, clutching his belly after playing the ball. But he's staying out there. Always a good sign when players want to stay out there. As they're on the charge now. Richard Allen again. He's had plenty to do this second half. They're 5 metres into green territory. Burns at dummy half. Goes through Carmichael and then on to Laundus. And now there's rain starting to fall here at Crookwell. I did say there were showers about 50 k's away an hour or so ago. And they've arrived with us right on cue. Now, what have we got here? Penalty to Crookwell. There's a bit going on there. And Crookwell, they can just clear it out. A couple of little red birds fly past us in front of the commentary box. Back to the play, 11 minutes remaining. 10 points the difference. And Dion Aramoana out to the 30-metre line. Across to the left, and again Weir. 11 short of halfway. Well, Crookwell have the advantage of the lead. With North Canberra, they're certainly making sure these tackles have an impact. Make it hard. Is that Jaden Aramoana? It is. So both the Aramoanas getting some game time this afternoon. Now it's with Cam Picker. Fifth and last. Now the bomb comes from McGeechan. But he's offside. I reckon he was in front of the kicker. So it'll be a North Canberra ball and they'll get it outside the 20. Time just starting to add a little bit of pressure on them now. 10 minutes remaining. Thorley, what a monster kick. He's kicked that from his 20. And where's that? 35 out. So he's made 10, 20, 30, 45 metres he's made with that kick. And then on the ensuing first tackle, they make another 10. So they're 25 out now, North Canberra. Across to the left. Oh, it's gone in front of William Hazel. He may have got a fingertip on it. He has. Probably would have been better to leave it go and try and pick it up off the turf. It was not the best of delivery from the dummy half. So it'll be Crookwell to feed the scrum. We saw a scrum one against the feet a couple of weeks ago as well in local rugby league. Haven't seen a lot of those. Actually, it wasn't local rugby league, it was a Raiders game. It was the Raiders versus the Rabbitohs, I think it was. First scrum I'd seen against the feet in quite some time. We don't see that here. North Canberra instead have to run up in the tackle. And it was Dunn getting in and making the tackle on Kalen Jackson-Wilkie. Second tackle for Crookwell, and you see they just continue to work it up the middle of the park. That was Isaac Walker who had the ball. And now James Weir. Matthew Burns, good tackle from him. Now Jaden Aramoana. So they've crossed halfway again. Trying to run from dummy half. Fifth and last, they only made 5 metres, if that. So he gets to take the kick. Cameron Picker is the kicker. Says he bursting into verse. The ball high in the air. Lost backwards by Jorgensen and then locked forward by the Crookwell Green Devils. And so it will be a scrum feed to North Canberra. I won't say it's last chance saloon for them, but with 8 minutes remaining, they really do need to do something on this set. First things first will be to get it down the other end of the park, I suppose. That's Mafiti. Don't make too much ground on the first tackle. Thorley almost through the line. Brought down after making 12 metres. Dominant tackle. It was Bink who was driven into the turf. And they give it to the fullback in Laundus. They've got numbers on the outside if they can keep passing, but they can't. Wayne Bullock was a little bit squared up when he took the ball. So he was put to ground just short of halfway. Now it's Stanley Carmichael, fifth and last, and he's over the middle stripe, but that's about it. What do? They give it to Dunn. Dunn kicks for the corner. Actually, it doesn't go for the corner. It comes back in instead of Walker going for it. It's Knight, and Knight is put down on the 20, and now the rain getting quite heavy here. Ball has been lost in there. It's been picked up off the ground by Jorgensen for North Canberra. So suddenly North Canberra from nothing have a chance to really put some pressure on. Burnham, he's 9 out just in front of the post. It's hammering down here, the rain now. Burns goes across, finds Allen. Allen, he's a couple of metres short. He's just to the adjacent of the, just to the left of the right of the post rather. They continue on the far side of the ground. They give it to the 5'8", then Priestley. He's over the line, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the ball down. Referee says he's held up. We'll come back to 10 metres out. Tackle 4. North Canberra, they've got to score here. They really have to score here. Come across to the left. On the 4th, back on the inside. Well, they won't score from this. Just short, about a metre short, and the post's in there as well, possibly helping with the Crookwell's defenders. Hold is the call. The kick comes from Priestley. No, it doesn't. Instead, he gives it to, I reckon it was Mafiti over in there. Oh, that must have been the 5th. And, oh, hello. I must have got my tackle count confused in there because I thought we were on the last of the previous tackle, but the referee's called it. He's checked both sides. And it's a try. There's a Thorley who scored it. It was. So Chris Thorley, well, he's doing absolutely everything he can to keep his side in the game. He scored 2 tries. He's converted 2 so far. 22-16. He will need to take this one fairly quickly. There's less than 5 left on the clock. The clock doesn't stop for conversions here. And once again, North Canberra making the most of opportunity when it knocks. I tell you what, he needs to take this conversion attempt fairly quickly. They're not panicking, they're not stressing. And Chris Thorley with try number, 29 for the season. Not bad in a 16-game regular season, plus 4 finals. He's gone to better than a try a game. Well, they're going to get one crack to either level this up or take the lead. North Canberra, because they'll get the ball back with 3 minutes left on the clock, you would imagine. So they'll get one real crack at it if they play it right, if they play some smart footy. So Crookwell still the favourites, but North Canberra, well, they're giving it an almighty shake in the last 24 minutes of this game. With 24 left on the clock, they were 22-0 down. They've scored 16, and he's missed that one. Well, they'll have a chance to level it up. If they do level it up and we go to extra time, the extra time rules are very simple. 5 minutes each way. If we're still tied up at the end of 5 minutes each way, then we just keep on playing until someone scores. Just if you're wondering, we'll get that out of the way nice and early. You reckon if Crookwell get it down to that eastern end of the ground, down to the Collier Street end of the ground, that they'll be looking for the field goal? I think they might just be doing that. But right now, the ball's with North Canberra. There's 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. They need to give it to a couple of their big boys to make some metres early. Mafiti. It's so hard to pick some of these players now because of the mud on the jerseys. It was Richard Allen, in fact, not Mafiti. Because He's not out there at the moment, I don't think. Okay, they're over halfway. Let's worry about who's out there with 2:10 left on the clock. They're going to need another set or a long-range try. Thorley decides the midfield bomb is the option. He puts it high in the air. Daniel Knight set underneath it, takes it on the 10, goes to ground, gets back up to play on, and he's taken by Wayne Bullock. Now, Crookwell, they can waste 90 seconds here in this set. They can go very, very slowly, and mark my words, they will. Got to let him go. So that's the third. Got to let him go. Get him on side. That's the first time I've heard a get him on side call all day. It's taken us to the last 2 minutes of the game to hear one. So surrender tackle. Last tackle. 80 seconds left on the clock. They'll kick for touch if they're sharp. They're not. Instead, it's Luke Jorgensen who fields it off his belly. That's 35 out from his own line, 1 minute to go. Now it's Mafidi, so he is out there now. He's on the 40. Burns comes into dummy half. We've had some great finishes in Canberra Region Rugby League this year. Do we have another one on the way? North Canberra straighten up the middle of the park. Richard Allen it was. Now to the left they go with Dunn. Dunn, the halfback, takes it 10 metres into opposition territory. Burns in a dummy half. You've heard the call of the referee, about 40 seconds to go. Priestley picked up and dumped in the tackle. Did he go above the horizontal? No, he didn't. All good. Last tackle. What have they got for their last tackle for the season? You would think. Thorley, he looks to the corner. Underneath it, it's taken by the Crookwell Green Devils. And with 15 seconds left on the clock, there'll be no urgency for Isaac Walker to play it. He mightn't have scored a try, but he's held onto the ball. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Will they have one more play the ball? They do have one more play the ball. It doesn't matter who's got it. But the Crookwell Green Devils, for the first time since 2006, are the premiers. We've had 6 different premiers in 7 seasons in this George Tooke Shield competition. And after leading 22-0, they've wound up picking up the title 22 points to 16. But in grand finals, it's not how, it's how many. They've won by 6. Tries to Kalen Jackson-Wilkie, Stephen Cummins, Cameron Picker and Ben Picker. And 3 conversions from 4 attempts to Cameron Picker. For the vanquished, for the North Canberra Bears, it was 2 tries and 2 conversions to Chris Thorley. And a try to Matthew Burnham, but it wasn't quite enough. In the end, that first 10 minutes proving the difference between these 2 sides. First 10 minutes, make it the first 2 minutes if you like. But the Bears, who were premiers in 2016, this afternoon they taste defeat, but a game played at great speed and in great spirit. And you see the sides congratulating each other on a tremendous 2018 season. And it has been great fun to bring it to you this afternoon here on Bar TV. George Tooke Shield Grand Final Day is always a special one in the local rugby league calendar. Not much more we can say for you this afternoon other than to recap. 16-0 at half-time becomes a 22-16 full-time score. And congratulations to Crookwell. And as I said earlier, it means that you had Crookwell as premiers this year. Last year Harden, year before was North Canberra, prior to that Bungendore. Bynalong got 2 in a row in 13 and 14, and in 2012 it was Hall. So that's 6 different clubs winning the George Tooke Shield in a 7-year span. If a mark of a good competition is that different sides win it, well, I'll take the George Tooke Shield any day. Not much else I can throw at you this afternoon. We will have a little bit of extra content coming your way via the Canberra Region Rugby League Facebook page over the coming days. But it is going to be a fairly decent party in this town tonight. They've been waiting. They're a very big rugby league town. The game means an awful lot to them here in Crookwell. And I reckon this party may just go on for a few days yet. They last won in 2006. That was back-to-back. They beat Tuggeranong and Bungendore in those two grand finals. And today they've beaten the North Canberra Bears after a 15-1 season. They only had to play one final. That was the semi-final. They won that to get the direct path through to the grand final. And I just wonder, did that little bit of extra freshness, that not having to play so much footy late in the season, did that help them out this afternoon? But let's not discount North Canberra. They played a good brand of footy this afternoon after really making a bit of a hash of things in the first 10 minutes. They came back hard. But they've gone down 22 points to 16. And that is about it for me on Canberra Region Rugby League coverage for season 2018. On behalf of everyone who's been involved in it, my fellow commentators Ryan Curran, Sonny Singh, Raider Nick, who joined us for the grand final of the Canberra Raiders Cup last week. It's been tremendous to have your company through 2018. Whether you've only watched us for one game or you've been with us every week, thank you very much for your company. To all the guys from Bar TV who work very, very hard, both here and back in the control room. Top job, guys. Thank you very much. And for helping us take the terrific games of rugby league in and around the nation's capital, right around the world. We appreciate you too. And to everyone involved in the Canberra Region Rugby League, particularly to John Kreuter, who is not with us today. He's off at the Junior Rugby League Grand Finals. To Mark Vigano, who, and I mentioned this last week, I got asked at the start of the 2017 season, can you come and call one game for us? Which was the first game last season. It's turned from that into an every week thing just about for me, and I've had an absolute ball doing it. So thank you to those guys, to everyone at the Canberra Region Rugby League. Thank you very much for your support and for this wonderful idea of streaming our local games. And there is one more person who deserves a mention this afternoon. And that is a man who has given more to rugby league in his lifetime than probably any selection of 100 people you could care to choose, and that is the Canberra Region Rugby League chairman, Noel Bissett. He has announced a little while ago that he was going to retire from his role at the 2018 annual general meeting. That's still to be held in December, but this will be the last game played under his auspices as the CRRL chairman. He's a Canberra Raiders life member. He spent 20 plus years on the committee. He's been chairman for 12. He is always willing to stop and say g'day, has a smile on his face. He loves his rugby league. He's been a referee for hundreds of games in the country rugby league. He refereed in Winfield Cup games as well. I think he was actually the first Canberra referee to be appointed to that first grade level as well. And to Noel Bissett, I know plenty of people have had plenty to say to you, Noel, over recent weeks since you made the announcement that you're retiring. But I would like to say congratulations and thank you for what you've done for our great game. You're a true gentleman. Thank you very much for everything. And on behalf of everyone at the CRRL and at Bar TV, this is Chris Coleman signing off from Crookwell, where the George Tooke Shield will be resident for the next 12 months, having been won this afternoon by the Crookwell Green Devils over the North Canberra Bears, 22 points to 16. Thanks for your company. I'll catch up with you in season 2019.